Hey there, I'm Sully, and as always, welcome to the Gun Club. Alrighty, got a few quick stories to go through tonight, a few things to cover. If you were with us on Tuesday night, you know we did deep dive into a few incidents, covered several different things that went on. If you saw the Rumble part of it, we covered the UGA student, student murdered at UGA. She was actually an Augusta University student currently, but was at UGA when her life was so brutally taken from her. We covered that over on Rumble the other night on the tail end of our show. Today, we've just got a few quick things to go through. It is Thursday, February 29th, Leap Day of all things. We get this day once every 4 years, so hey, make the most of it. Might as well put up a stream and see what we can get ourselves into for the evening. Our first story, you may or may not have heard, comes out of Mesquite, Texas. Now, down in Mesquite, they had a little bit of an incident the other day, 2 days ago. And they had a 16-year-old suspect who came to school with a pew-pew. Yeah, we're on YouTube, so I've got to be good. He arrived, had this in his backpack. He ends up brought into the office, and he was... happened about 9 a.m. in the morning, February 19th, and they get him to the office, at which point he pulls the gun out of his backpack, and drops it on the ground. He would not let the school personnel pick it up. They didn't want to. They pretty much got out of the room, talked to him from the doorway, from a position of concealment and cover. Law enforcement was notified, responded. The school did lock down. Law enforcement got there. It was at the doorway. They were telling him not to reach over and pick it up, at which point you guessed it, 16-year-old reached over and picked it up. Now, when he picked it up, he then engaged with law enforcement. He never fired the weapon. However, he did have it in his hand, wave it towards law enforcement. So they opened fire. Now, they had 3 total officers there, variety of lengths of time as far as their length of service. I believe a supervisor. They had another officer who was a new officer to them who had experience somewhere else, and the other officer had about 3-4 years on the road. Between the 3 of them, they discharged their firearms 19 times into it's a good-sized office, but into a suspect at an office who was not returning fire at that point. They fired 19 shots. They hit him in the leg ×1. Remember, we talked one night about how some cops are not the greatest shot? Yeah. So 19 shots fired by 3 officers, and the suspect never returned fire. He eventually ended up dropping the weapon and walking out on his own power, and was taken to the hospital. Let's see here. Yeah, 3 officers involved. We had an 8-year veteran, a 5-year veteran, and another officer who was in training who had multiple years at a previous agency. So, pretty decent. The school has since, after this, installed, checkpoints at doors, metal detectors, that type of thing. They've also brought in crisis counselors and all that good stuff. Now, if you hit 1 out of 19 shots, now granted, again, I've looked at the body camera footage. I can't really show it on here on YouTube, but again, the officers on one side did good. The school did great. They contained him in one place. He was in that office. We don't know whether the weapon was loaded, not loaded, whatever. The superintendent said, wants to definitely support their staff. Got to give the staff credit. They're not trained to deal with this stuff. Once again, you've got somebody who went to a teaching school, teaching college. They're educators. They're not law enforcement officers. As far as the 3 officers who fired 19 shots and hit with 1, might I suggest we go back and get some range time in? We talked the other night about, a lot of cops fire their 50 rounds a year to qualify, and that's about the best they do. And oh, well, it is what it is. But, you also wonder why when we talk about, don't trust anyone else to protect yourself, you trust yourself to protect yourself. You don't want to depend on someone else. Maybe they're proficient with their pew-pews. Maybe they're not so proficient. Um, as far as their proficiency, I have questions on that. So, but yeah, again, fortunately, no one injured with the exception of the student who brought the weapon to the school. And again, fortunately, he did not lose his life at that day. He could have easily lost his life. In talking to the officers afterwards, they didn't mention that they had deliberately not gone for a more aggressive shot. I think it was just from what it looked like on the body cams and stuff, it just looked like they needed some practice. They needed some range time. I mean, then again, if you go back and you look at our famous story of Operation Acorn, how many rounds were fired in that engagement that did not find their mark. So it is what it is. Take it for what it's worth. From that standpoint, sorry guys, but range day, a lot of range time. Get your butt to the range. Come on, you can do it. Let's not have Minnie Mouse be more proficient with a firearm than you are. Speaking of Minnie Mouse, as always, got to give Minnie Mouse her props. She makes these lovely tumblers here for the gun club. Kind of nice. We've got our red sparkly one there. We've got the black cloud one, I think. I don't remember what she calls it. Then we've got these here, white, black, navy blue, various assorted tumblers. And she does such nice work making them and all sorts of other crafty custom design stuff. She does this. It's sort of her therapeutic. And besides, she's got to pay for her range time and her ammo somehow. So there you go. On to our next story. And this one's a really interesting one. Letitia versus the NRA. Now, if you're not sure who I'm talking about, you may have heard of her in the news on some of her bigger cases. New York District Attorney Letitia James. The one who's trying to take all of Donald Trump's buildings and trying to, fine him $300-400 for a deal he made with the bank when he and the bank are both perfectly happy about it. Yeah. Well, another entity that she took on was the NRA, aka the National Rifle Association. Now, she actually filed this back in 2020, and she went after them, basically citing the longtime CEO, Wayne LaPierre, as well as some of his staff, were being reckless with money. As you know, the NRA is actually a charity, so there's certain regulations as far as how charities can spend money. Now, she's questioning how they spent the money. Some of it, I read a lot of the information. Some of it was excessive. Taking helicopters to NASCAR races so they could beat traffic, a little excessive. Flying private around the country, maybe, maybe not. Depending where you're going from, where you're going to, and what your schedule is, and especially if he's going to an event where he has to bring firearms or a firearm, traveling with a firearm can be a royal pain in the ass. And so therefore, maybe. And again, depending on what his schedule is or how many people in his team he's flying, by the time you put 4 or 5 people in a group going to an event for PR or something else, maybe it's legit, maybe it's not. That's not our point to decide that. However, the jury Friday finally wrapped this case up and said that he had basically caused more than $5 million harm to the NRA. Now, he has since stepped down. He stepped down about 3-4 months ago. And without getting in all deep on the NRA dramas, I'll just say this. I've supported the NRA for 11 years. Over the last 5 to 10 years, I feel like they haven't been doing much. or they're just, I'll say this, not as much as other organizations are doing. Now, does that mean I don't do anything with the NRA anymore? No. I've still got, my collection of cards here. I've still got NRA Life of Service member. It's good through 2028. Yep. So still got my NRA cards and everything. However, in addition to supporting the NRA, I support a lot of other organizations as well that I feel are doing better. And I'm willing, flat out, to make contributions to anyone when I know that at least a chunk of it, maybe not the whole thing, but at least a sizable chunk of it, is going to kind of go towards my gun rights at some point. And when I say my gun rights, just, these are the agencies or organizations that I see doing a lot of battle in court. We have our Second Amendment Foundation here, of which I'm a life member. Of course, we have our friends at GOA who, we got to support them. As well, I'm a member FPC, Firearms Policy Coalition. If by some chance you hear this stream and you live in the, California, the Soviet Socialist Republic of California, California Rifle and Pistol Association, you look at what they're doing, they are in battles continuously. They're right now trying to get a lot of your ammo costs down for you in California. Yeah, I had a shocker the other day. Had somebody actually show me what ammo costs in California and all the regulatory fees and permit fees and everything you got to pay just to buy bullets for your pew-pew. Yeah, kind of ridiculous, kind of unfair, kind of crazy, and, well, BS. Anyway, let's get back to Letitia. So, Letitia James decides to go after the NRA. LaPierre ends up stepping down during this whole thing. She said that, he said that he stepped down for personal and health reasons and family reasons. He had been the head of the NRA for 30 years. Okay. She got the jury verdict in that he caused $5.4 million worth of damage, and so he has to pay the NRA back a whole bunch of money. So far, so good. So, she and her office put in a whole bunch of effort that is now resulting in Wayne LaPierre and I think one of his other staff members having to write the NRA millions of dollars in checks. I think we ought to award her the fundraiser of the year. Thank you, Miss James. Thank you so much. You've given the members of the National Rifle Association $6 million extra dollars. 6 million reasons to say thank you, Letitia. Yeah. If you gotta love it, a little bit of fun ending on that one. Because, she attacked the NRA. Well, she did it, so it happens. All righty, let's see. What else do we have? Our next story. Well, we need to congratulate the great state of Louisiana. As of basically today, they have now passed constitutional carry, joining 27 other states. So we've got 28 states that are currently active constitutional carry, at least for their residents. You'll notice that South Carolina on there, my beloved state, is still in white. We haven't done it yet, but we're hopefully going to be getting there soon. But it always comes with the question. And I had a dear friend from Louisiana reach out to me and ask me my thoughts about this whole thing. What do I think? What's my opinion on the constitutional carry discussion? So, here's where I go. First off, I understand the concept of constitutional carry. I agree that you should not be required to go pay for a permit to follow a civil right. I agree, paying for a permit, you don't have to pay for a permit for free speech. You don't have to take a class for free speech. However, that being said, the states that go constitutional carry, even if South Carolina does it, okay, great, wonderful. I'll still teach the CWP class. Number one, because as you look directly north of us is North Carolina. It's just South Carolina, North Carolina. Yeah. They also do not have constitutional carry. My South Carolina permit lets me carry a firearm up into North Carolina. It also lets me, when I'm traveling, say, from Nevada, I can carry in Nevada. I can carry on my way through New Mexico or Arizona. Now, the rest of those states coming across all have the constitutional carry until you get to North Carolina, which doesn't. My permit covered me all the way back from Vegas. So, that being said, there is a little bit of an advantage to it, number one. Number two, around here, classes for CWP run you $100, $125, depending where you take them. Sometimes you can get them a little bit cheaper or you get a group deal on it. And there's no state fee, no fingerprinting fee, no application processing fee. So to spend a day in class and, about $100, $120 and get a little range time out of it, to me, it seems like a good investment, especially if you may want to go to another state. Item number two, if you have an ability to get a permit in your state, even though you don't need one, heaven forbid you actually use your firearm. The first question that comes up is, well, were you legal doing that? Or do you have any training? Or what were you thinking? Well, guess what? I know when I teach CWP here in South Carolina, my students get a book full of the laws and regulations, and everything is in writing. We go through PowerPoints, we go through classroom discussions about where you can and cannot carry and what the limits are. It seems like something that's got so many laws about it and so many rules about it and real bad penalties if you break a rule. Even if you're in a constitutional carry state, it's your responsibility to know all the laws about carrying it, using it, etc. Might be a good idea to take a class anyway. Now, you don't have to because no, the Constitution is your permit, and I get that and I support that. However, the last thing you want to do is exercise that wonderful right to carry under the Constitution and then have somebody in blue reading you your rights because you accidentally parked in a post office parking lot and had it in your car. Oops, federal crime, federal facility. Oopsie. Yeah. My opinion, the consequences are too high if you screw the pooch on that deal. So, again, yes, congratulations on getting constitutional carry. All in favor of it. However, with that being said, there comes a hell of a lot of responsibility. Make sure you know the laws, not only of your states, but any state you travel to. If you have a question about that, there's apps out there. You can look it up. There's lots of different ways. If you have a specific question about South Carolina, I'm very familiar with our laws because I teach it. I'm very familiar with North Carolina's laws because I lived up there and worked up there for a while, and because I go back and forth a lot. And again, even if South Carolina went constitutional carry tomorrow, well, that's great. People could carry it here, but they cross the line and, well, they get their first felony. Not a good thing. Because then, a felony weapons charge might even cost you your constitutional carry in your home state. So please, again, congratulations, Louisiana. Very, very happy for you on this. But on the other side of that coin, please be careful, be smart, use it responsibly. Alrighty, let's see. We've got 3 or 4 people over here in the Rumble stream. I see Minnie, I see Holly. Holly, hope you're doing wonderfully today. You are one of my 2 to 3 most favorite Leafs in the world, Miss Holly. And of course, we have Minnie Mouse here. And we've got a couple watching on YouTube. I can't see who's up on YouTube, so somebody say hello. Let us know what's going on in your neck of the woods as we go through this here. Let's see. Moving on from constitutional carry. Yeah, Holly, I would start covering some of the political and legal stuff going on up there, but I really can't do it. And, they hate to see me cry on stream. So, yeah, I'm sorry, girl. Now, the not so nice news of the night: the Colorado assault weapons ban. There has been an assault weapons ban pushed up in Colorado, and it is ugly. Not only does it have multi-page lists of what all they consider an assault weapon, I'm just using their terms on this one. On the other side of that coin, we come back and there's basically what they're doing is they're making it illegal to buy, sell, import, or transfer any of these things after the effective date of this bill. So you could still own them, have them, whatever, yes. But you could not buy a new one. You could not sell it to someone. You could not import it from another state. And you cannot transfer it. Now, why would transferring be a big deal? Well, let's say that you're, 11 years old, and when you pass away, you wish to will your firearms to your children or your nephews or your wife or spouse, anything else. Nope, not going to be able to do it. You can have it until the day that you die, and then the government will come in and take your firearms away from your spouse or your children or whoever your survivors are, because they're considered assault weapons. One thing in a 16-page list of items. And the list of items not only has a list by brand name, but they then have a list of features, anything from a shotgun that happens to have a pistol grip on it, a rifle of any kind that has a threaded barrel on it. Yes, if you have threads on the end of your barrel, the government will come and take them away from your spouse upon your death. I'm sure they'll do it very nicely. I've got a full copy of the Colorado proposed bill. It's not law yet. Folks, if you live in Colorado or you know people in Colorado, get them out there. Warn them what's going on, because this is going to slip in and it's going to be so insidious. And once something like this gets on the books and gets signed, it takes about 5-6 years of court cases to get rid of it. So, yeah, this is Colorado's latest. If you want to, you can check out over on our locals page. We do have all the stuff up on locals. I try to put any documents or anything up on there. I use it as a document repository. Our locals is right here. It's at thegunclub.locals.com. And again, you can look for copies of anything that we have right there, because again, you need to know, we need to be aware of this stuff. And when I saw this going through, I got a heads up from Boomstick Babe on it, and it was definitely a problematic issue. Definitely something I didn't want to see come through. Again, hate it for them, but, we need to do something about this. All right. Well, it looks like we've got Mary over on the YouTube now. She's saying good evening. And Holly and Minnie. Oh, we're actually picking up on Rumble tonight. Folks, if you enjoy what we're doing, give us a thumbs up. Check us out in the chat. We try to do streams a couple times a week, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays. And every now and then we have a Friday drinking stream. Although tonight, I'll admit, it's nothing stronger than coffee. But that's okay. My dear friends at Blackout Coffee sent me some good stuff, so gotta love it. All righty, onwards and upwards. What else do we have for the night? Some good guy and gal with a gun stories. You know what? Every now and then we need a palate cleanser. We need to realize that everything is not all bad. Everything is not all awful, because guess what? The vast majority of firearms out there get used legally and legitimately in defensive uses. Now, for example, February 27th, we have a resident returning to their Saline County, Arkansas home when they see a stranger exit the house. He's coming up to his own house and someone's coming out of his house. The stranger then points a gun at him. The resident, who is armed, goes ahead, draws his in self-defense. The suspect was injured and fled from the scene. Police located the wounded suspect, took him into custody. He did have stolen property in his possession and is expected to be charged with residential burglary, aggravated assault, as well as a few other charges. Now, again, you don't think about it. It's never going to happen to me. It's never going to happen here. The other night, we had the big one on there about what happened down in Georgia. Folks, that one, again, still bugs me a little bit. If you catch the end of our stream on Tuesday night on the Rumble exclusive segment, that young lady, now it's making national news. It's all over the place. I was following it since Friday night when I was drinking last week. But there are violent, evil people wandering around. I'm looking over here on the chat right now. I know Alicia, I know Mel, Holly. We got 3 ladies over here. And like I said the other day, gun-free zones, they're target-rich environment. We've got Mary over here on the YouTube chat. Again, target-rich environments. Mary, I'll say this to you, you need to be carrying something. You need to be able to protect thyself. Why? Because evil exists. Pure evil exists. And I'm not saying that the gentleman was pure evil because he happened to be a asylum seeker or a migrant or whatever. No, not going to go there. What I will say is that, again, we still have been unable to confirm the rumor, but it's looking possible that certain South American countries have decided to save money by emptying their prison population, up that neck of the woods. Why not? They don't want them in their country, and they don't want to pay to keep them up. Again, I want to think about this one. Holly, I know you're up north of us. Think about how your country or your population would be affected or react if we emptied out maximum security prisons and bust them within 100 yards of the border and let them out. And said, look, just don't come back across the border. Go do whatever you want to do. Be fine. You won't be our problem. South American countries may well be doing that to us. We've heard that reported from multiple places. But yes, I agree, Holly. We said it the other day, to be armed is the great equalizer. The young lady in our story the other night, she was giving up 75 to 100 plus pounds of body weight against this attacker. And one of the media outlets actually had the gall, audacity, whatever, to say that what probably happened is he reacted badly when she fought off his attempts to essay her, if you get my drift, folks. Oh, he reacted badly because she decided not to lay down and be R-worded. You know what? I would much rather than be saying she reacted badly to his attempt and put 2 in his chest and one between the running lights. I could live with that a whole lot better. But yeah, Holly, we've got 10 million came across our border. And the bad part is some of them may end up running your direction depending on what happens in November. So at least, be aware, protect yourself. The situation on that one in Georgia, if you didn't catch the show on Tuesday night, it's on the end of the stream. It's a rough one, folks. It's a rough one. That's why I had to do it Rumble exclusive, because I knew that YouTube would have had a small stroke if I did it. Alrighty, what else do we have to cover? I think that's about it for the day. Again, this was going to be a very short, sweet, and to the point. Couple things I'm working on, wanted to holler at you about. I'm looking at putting on a second channel, setting up more of a political channel. Everything I do here, 9 times out of 10 or 99% of it is firearms. It's 2A based. I'm thinking about getting into some of the stuff more political, more current events, more newsworthy. Again, we know the mainstream media, lies, won't tell, won't be honest, won't be serious about anything. And I follow a lot of stuff, and inevitably I end up talking to people and they're like, well, I never heard that. I never heard that. The media is covering up a lot of things going on right now, or they're, just telling their version of it, so to speak. If this is something you think is worthwhile, I've been looking at doing something like that. Yep, Holly, always great to have you in the chat. I'm not sure what the schedule is for this weekend. I know that I'm teaching all day Saturday. Although if you're on the stream Saturday night, I may be around. Um, yeah. Holly meet Minnie, Minnie meet Holly. Minnie, you've heard stories about Holly. Yeah. I'm going to have to put a clip on here on the board just for Holly when she stops by. But that's okay. I'll put the field promotion version up for you, Holly. But yeah, I'm looking at possibly setting up another channel, just doing it for politics, news, current events. If I do it, it'll probably be a Rumble exclusive channel just because of the fact of, well, I know me. And when I talk about politics, and I know there are certain people in California who would have a small stroke. But that being said, folks, if I do that, also I'm looking at putting on some classroom material up on here, either on Locals or on here, doing like a basic intro to firearms. You know, if you're familiar with it and you've had all this stuff and you know all this stuff, hey, great, wonderful, glory be. However, that being said, on the other side of the coin, you know, if you have your normie friends or your friends who have never had anything about, firearms and they're curious or they want to learn, but they're scared to go to one of those classes, I'm thinking about putting up a couple of recordings that they can watch from the safety and comfort of their own home to maybe realize that all of us 2A people are not nuts. We're actually pretty nice about everything. We're pretty, straightforward, honest about things. Because honestly, I want more people coming into the 2A community. I want, especially the ladies, like I said the other day on the Rumble stream, there's a reason I get passionate about this. Because I see stories about a little 100-pound nursing student getting her, brutally beaten by that guy to death. And it's like, you know what? I wish someone had talked to her about the evil that exists in the world. I wish someone had taught her something. A little bit too late for her, but it's not too late for the next one. And those of us in the 2A community need to make sure that we're getting our words out there. You know, if you've got a Minnie Mouse in your life, drag her kicking and screaming to the range if you have to. It's okay. She'll appreciate it one day. But anyway, beyond that, folks, be smart, be safe, take it easy. Bye.